All right, everybody. We are back with another Prosper in the Kingdom. And I'm sitting here with the kind of cool, not so awesome, Wendy Lee. She's making fun of me. I'm wearing a headset today so we can avoid that echo situation. So, no, I'm just kidding.
So much better.
I know. I feel like a legit podcaster person now. I feel, like it's real now because I have a headset on. So anyway, but that's not what we're talking about today. We are going to talk to our business owners, our entrepreneurs and solopreneurs out there that listen to our podcast and our YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about AI and the entrepreneurial edge. So AI is kind of a hot topic. It came, not out of nowhere, but it's really kind of exploded on the scene, the last several years. And it's doing some great things for solopreneurs, small business owners, 1099, just a lot of different people, both good and bad. I know when it first came out, Wendy, my kids were all in high school and they were like, can I use this to write my papers? And I know that was a thing for a hot second, but apparently they figured that out. But AI, what do you think? Talk to me.
Well, I actually just, speaking of teaching to write papers, I just helped my daughter write a paper for school I'm like, here's the deal. Everyone's using AI, right? And I would rather her have the skill of saying, here's my ideas, right? And I taught her how to talk to ChatGPT. Hey, I'm 7 years old. This is the story that I'm working on. Here's what I've written so far. The only thing I'm struggling with is an ending. Like, we put in all this stuff, right? But make it sound like a 7-year-old. And I told her, I said, you could tell your facilitator, she's in like a homeschool program. You could tell your facilitator that we use ChatGPT to finish your paper. Because to me, that skill is way more powerful than knowing where to put your commas.
No, I agree to some level. It really goes back to the heart of the matter, right? I mean, if you're using AI to cheat or whatever the case may be, not really what you want to do. And it goes back, I mean, Prosper in the Kingdom, we're talking about biblical references to what we talk about. And, Proverbs 16:3, right? Commit your works to the Lord and your plans will be established. It's about, putting it in God's hands, not just, in doing the right thing with it. But you're right. I mean, it's another tool. That was one of the things, like, when I was in, I don't know, maybe 5th grade, 6th grade, calculators back in the day, you couldn't use calculators. You had to show your work and do it. And it's like, why? Now as an adult, I'm like, I don't have to show my work. I mean, it's like I'm using the technology. So I think this is another revolution, but like any tool, it can be used for, good and bad.
Yeah.
But, again, looking at what can it do for small business owners, I love it because honestly, I think it levels the playing field. It makes small business owners, solopreneurs so much more competitive. But I don't know that I still know a lot of people that aren't even embracing it. And I was a little bit of a slow adopter too. And I think it was because, number one, I'm Gen X. Yeah. Number two, I love Terminator. And I know where this all leads, right?
Exactly.
I mean, let's be honest. Cyberdyne Industries created ChatGPT. No, I'm kidding. But no, I mean, I was a little bit of a reluctant. I know you kind of jumped on it, but since I've kind of got my feet into it, I'm digging it. I mean, I love it.
You're like becoming a master at it. I use it pretty regularly. I mean, I say I use it. I use ChatGPT. You use a whole bunch of tools that are AI driven. Here's the thing. Just like when the internet came out, right? There were a whole bunch of people that are like, oh, it's the end of humanity. Like we're, and then social media was another thing. MySpace, remember that, right? MySpace and social media.
Hey kids, set the Wayback Machine. She's from the 1900s. Go ahead.
Exactly. But I remember, that was like, oh my gosh, your personal information. People can see who you are and where you live, right? Like there's all these evolutions, right? And yes, ultimately, we believe in the Bible. We know what the end of the story is. Ultimately, the world's going to be destroyed. Okay.
And that's your fun fact for the day, folks.
But we know who wins, right? But yes, this earth as we know it is going to no longer exist. There'll be a new heaven and new earth. So this is part of the process of leading to that place. It's weird because like reading the Bible when I was growing up and then reading it now, like Revelation, you're like, oh, wow, this makes a lot more sense now that things are evolving the way they are. But point being that I want to go back to is we've got to embrace the technology to be successful in this day and age. And like you said, use it for good, right? Use it to grow your business. Use it. Can it be used for bad things? Yes. I mean, yeah. But we can't fear it and avoid it. It's not going to go away, right? If we avoid it.
No, it's a part of
Right.
the playground now. So But, I think a lot of it, going back to the business owners, especially small business owners, solopreneurs, I mean, it's hard enough to compete because typically you're a Jack or Jill of all trades, right? You're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales, you're doing the back office and everything else. And that's really where these AI tools can really come in. And ChatGPT, that's kind of where I started too, really diving in and then learning how to communicate with it. And I was working with a client the other day on the business side, because we do, obviously business consulting and things like that for small business owners. But, really kind of sat down with her looking at, okay, and she was using ChatGPT, but she was using it incorrectly. She didn't train it. She didn't teach it. And I started going into some just basic 101 stuff. A lot of this stuff is on YouTube University, things like that. But it was really amazing just in the 5 minutes we spent kind of training it, how it really leveled up her game. I mean, you can use ChatGPT, social media. That's another thing, right? And a lot of, Gen Xers and, people over the age of 40, 45 just don't want to use it. Especially Gen X. I'm Gen X, so I can talk about this. You're Gen X. We can talk about this. So it's one of those things that, you look at, I don't like to see myself online, or I don't like to do this or whatever. I struggle with that, but you know what? Get over it, because it's here. It's not going anywhere. And if you want to compete, you've got to be able to have that presence so people can see you, who you are, what your product is. And that's even more critical if you're a small company or a mom and pop or an individual. People do business with who they know, like, and trust, right? And how do you get out there? And a lot of it is, I don't know what to do. Well, guess what? You can use social media to come up with not social media, but AI to come up with a social media game plan. Ask it, tell it what you want it to do.
Yeah. It's amazing when I say you have to train, like you train your AI, right? You train your ChatGPT. But, I went through just fun little tip regarding social media. I love to write social media posts. And I feel like when I do write longer posts, they really get some traction and people respond to them because I'm being authentic. Well, instead of just saying hey, ChatGPT, make me a post about this, and it spits out something. Somebody posted the other day, I can tell when AI is writing your post. And I'm like, not with mine, you can't, because I've trained my ChatGPT the right way. Yeah. I took 10 long written posts that I created from scratch that were all my words. I put it in ChatGPT, and I'm like, this is how I talk. Take note of my tone, my phrasing, my punctuation, and remember it. And any post you create for me from this point forward, I want to sound in my tone, my voice, my style. And it does it, man. It's amazing.
Well, no, and it's going to save the small business owner so much money too. I mean, you can have your business leveraging AI, and not just ChatGPT. There's a bunch, and we're going to talk about some tools at the end, but really leveraging that to do your website, right? Create and help you with e-commerce. If you've got a product, you're selling over the internet or whatever the case may be, it can actually help you with that. It can do lead funnels and things like that. You see that on Facebook. It can manage your ads. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. Customer service. I've got a friend of mine who's kind of on some cutting edge stuff with what's the software? I can't think of it. But anyway, it's basically an AI representative that has a voice conversation. And he let me play around with it when it first, he first started taking it live. And, of course, my job, I'm trying to stump it, right? And, I was able to kind of mess it up a little bit. But, I had to try. But the flow, the conversation piece, it was hard to tell that you were talking to AI. And it's only going to get better. But you look at, all these different things, and not that you're trying to downsize employees. And I think, unfortunately for larger corporations, that's going to be a fallout effect of it. So it's more and more important that you learn how to become an entrepreneur in America in order to, be viable for you and your family, income streams. We talk about all that, but really looking at leveraging these tools for the customer service, for the social media, for the content creating of social media, and the marketing piece of it. It's not just creating the content or saying, hey, I want to do social media. It's how are you going to market it? And you train on that with the avatar, and who is your client? Where are they at? What do they want to hear from you? Right. And that's really one of the things that, again, it's if you embrace it and take the time to learn it, it's amazing what it can do for you.
Yeah. Well, and just all those repetitive things that we do. I mean, it becomes like an assistant. All those repetitive tasks that you have, you can automate through AI. And that way you're freed up to focus on, the things that can't be replaced. Like, one big thing for me is prospecting and, like you said, building that know, like, trust factor. I can use AI to create my social media posts and, schedule all that. But as far as like one-on-one conversations, I'm going to have those, right? But having AI do the other stuff for me allows me to be free to spend the time in the high value income producing activities that require my presence. So I think,
exactly.
Going through and even just, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, small business owner, this is even restaurant, like any brick and mortar store, there's so many things that you don't realize you can use AI for, but write a list of all of the things that you're doing that it takes to run your business. And then start researching, what can I automate? What can AI handle for me? And what requires me? So.
Yeah, and even using ChatGPT to explain it to you. I mean, you could ask ChatGPT questions. And one of the things I want to touch on this too, because when, at least in the circles that I run with, and I'm gonna be a little vulnerable, and this is a trigger warning. I'm a conservative, so if that triggers you, I apologize somewhat. But I heard that ChatGPT, it's all left leaning and blah 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 blah, which I'm like, okay. I don't know that that's accurate or not, but I guess it could be. It is, not mechanical, but it is, technology. And so I simply, trained it. I'm a Christian. I'm conservative. Please respond in that manner. And so a lot of the things that we do, like on the financial side, even this, kind of preparing the outline for this podcast, it talks about biblical references, right? And just, to me, that's kind of neat that you're able, but you've got to train it, right? So, really digging in and looking at, okay, I love the idea that you just kind of laid out, okay, what are the critical items that I need to be present? Obviously, when I'm in front of a client, right? But scheduling appointments with clients, having them call me and ask a question, I can use AI for that, or at least, it's like the old FAQ, right?
Right.
The common questions, things like that. Setting up appointments, people would call me, we'd go through my calendar. Now I have AI, they go to a link, fill it out, it interacts with them, and it's like, okay, they're on my calendar. I don't even have to worry about it. So again, it's all those little things that you're able to free up that time. And that's the most valuable thing for entrepreneurs, especially small business, solopreneurs. How can I be at multiple places at the same time? And AI can really, number one, help level up your game. Number two, it can really multiply your time, right?
Yeah. We actually got an email, you and I, yesterday. I don't know if you looked through that yet or not, but a company that's pitching us, a product to look at, and they sent over their videos, and they're all an AI avatar with a voice. None of it's a real person, right? Yeah. And it looks, you can tell it's AI, but I'm telling you, in 3 years, you probably won't know the difference. No. But you can tell it's AI, but think about like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you had to hire someone or do it yourself. The video, you had to have a production team, you had to have video editing, you had to have lighting, you had to have a studio or a place to record, like you had to maybe have a green screen, you had to have all these things. And now you literally upload your presentation and have AI do the rest. It's just, it's wild, it's saving a ton of money and allowing businesses to level up.
No, it is. I mean, training videos, things like that. You can use, again, there's software on that. I'm using one I use for faceless reels, things like that. And it's my voice. I let it record. Now I'm still training it because the pauses and things like that sounded weird. I'm just going to be honest. But again, you watch an old movie that had CG, right? And you can kind of tell, look at CG today and it's amazing. Look at video games in the past, Space Invaders, stuff like that. Look at video games now. It's almost like, especially if you get an Oculus on, things like that, that's going to be crazy. AI is no different, right? So what are some of the things that you should look at? I mean, number one, looking at some of these tools that you can leverage, content creation, marketing, and just general, business partner, for lack of a better analogy. ChatGPT, that's kind of the baseline, right? Jasper AI is another one that people use, and you're going to spend maybe $20 a month on this. I have a paid subscription to Chat. Well worth it. I run it, I use it for my business, so the business pays for it. It's a write-off, right? I mean, so I guess nobody pays for it. I don't know if you've seen that meme or that reel, you know what I'm talking about from Schitt's Creek. But ChatGPT, Jasper AI, that's going to help you with content creating, marketing strategies, how to reach my audience. It can come up with, a whole podcast plan, or a marketing plan for you, social media plan. And then as far as social media management, we don't get paid from any of these companies, and I haven't used all of these. We're just throwing these out there. Do your own research, things like that. But for social media management, you've got Buffer and Hootsuite. Now, the costs on that can vary quite a bit. It's about 10 all the way up to $100 range, somewhere in there. But leveraging that to do the social media stuff. Have you used Hootsuite?
Hootsuite. You said Hootsuite. Hootsuite.
Oh, Hootsuite. Yeah.
Hootsuite. Yeah. I used to use Hootsuite. I have not looked at it since AI has really come on the scene. So it used to be just like stick it in there. But now I'm assuming, because I actually use another app that I can create social media content, and you can say, who's your audience? And basically it grabs the content that you're bringing into the platform, and then we'll create a caption based on what the content is. So I'm assuming Hootsuite and Buffer now have AI built in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of these services you're used to now are adding AI. Now it may be good, it may not. So again, do your homework. But looking at customer service, if you've got a brick and mortar, that you're getting a lot of calls, and it's hard for, small businesses to find employees now, right? Or employees that want to work late. If you've got, one of the things that just jumped into my mind is a pool service company. They sell pool supplies, spa supplies, stuff like that I use. And, they close at 4:00. Well, it's hard for me to get across town during the business day, and, you can do customer service and things like that after hours, on the weekend, right? All through automation, at least to catch, a lot of clients you may be missing. A couple tools there, Intercom, Drift. Those are things to look into. And then going into sales. And if you're a small business owner, and I know a lot of small business owners don't use a CRM, you've got to have a CRM. You've got to stay engaged with your clients and things like that. And that's where, that's all going to come into play. But, HubSpot, that's a big name people should be aware of. And then Salesforce, Einstein. That one I don't know. I know Salesforce. I don't know if they're the same or not, but I have heard of HubSpot.
Yeah, I think the Einstein is their AI-driven Salesforce. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. So, that's, they've got some scalability and things like that. But, really, adding all this stuff in. And then obviously you've got Wix is a common small business website. I think there are a couple others out there. Squarespace, that's another one that has an AI component to it as well. So a lot of this stuff you may, just like you said with Hootsuite, right? You may have tried it in the past and things have evolved, and it may be something to take a look at again. And then the data analytics. Obviously Google's got a great setup there. We use that for our own stuff, but it's just, again, taking the time to reinvest in your business. But, you add all this up and I don't know that you need it all, but you're still under, $400 or $500 a month to have a complete business, suite of AI services. And that's only scratching the surface. As Wendy said, I'm kind of diving into this. I'm getting my nerd on, and really kind of submerging myself into this AI world. And it's amazing. The tools are out there. I'm actually in the process of getting some certification stuff started so we can work with our business clients on that and kind of help them, create things and bots and whatnot to help them with their business. But you look at that investment in your business and learning this stuff, it's not going to go away.
Mm.
And if you don't jump on it, embrace it, what's going to happen is your business is going to fall further and further behind, and you're going to be scratching your head like, how is Wendy doing all this? What is she working 24/7? And, I see her, on the beach and stuff in her social media, but yet she's doing all these things. It's because of AI, automation through AI, with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's important to integrate it. And I would just say, going back to that writing list, Google it, figure out, here's something I don't like doing. Can AI do it for me? And I promise you there's something out there. I mean, we have just this video, right, that we're doing right now. AI can cut it down and create reels from it. Like it's so amazing. One of my favorite ones that I want to throw in here is Loom, LOOM.com.
Yeah.
$10 a month. You can upload, especially businesses that, if you're kind of doing onboarding, or if you need employee manual type things, or SOPs, you can record a video or upload a video to it. So you can screen record, or I tell people if you need to do something totally different, like I was helping somebody with a retreat, and I was like, walk around and record what you're doing to prepare for the retreat, upload it to Loom, and Loom will create an SOP for you. And literally with the click of a button. So there's just so much that you can do. Dig in. If you guys have questions, reach out to us. But it's important to really, for you to be able to leverage it to grow your business, to be able to keep up with the competition.
Yep, exactly. And one other thing too that's really important for you to not only keep up the competition, but just to become healthy, wealthy, and wise in general, is to like and subscribe our channel, right? Follow us on podcasts. There's a little plug. Yeah, right. So do us a favor, man, it's the struggle bus today. Click on the subscribe button. If you see us on YouTube, we've got a new website that we're working with AI, as well as an individual to kind of pull it all together, that we're going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks. But that's going to be at prosperinthekingdom.com. But check us out on our podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. I think Prime, maybe Amazon. I'm not sure. There's several different
Wherever
formats.
there's podcasts, we're there.
Where there's podcasting happening, you'll find John and Wendy fumbling words as they go through their day. But yeah, I'd love to have you on. Would love to hear some feedback from you guys too, or if you've got a topic you want to talk about, whether it's, how do I get healthier? Why are you talking about health? You guys were doing finance, because health has such a big impact on your wealth, right? Poor planning, it's either going to be a little expensive now, staying healthy, or it's going to be really expensive down the road. So we talk about that. Plus business owners, small business owners, those are some of the people that we focus most of our planning around from the financial standpoint. And a lot of them, they work so hard, they don't focus on the health side. So that's why we bring that into the conversation. So everybody, I want you to have a great week. Again, we're flying through the month of February. It's just time is going by, but we'll see you next Tuesday on another Prosper in the Kingdom. Thanks, everybody.